All right, everyone. My name is Bobby Outson, Sales Engineer here at STILOG Inc., and I'm very excited to present this classroom scheduling webinar that we have for you today. With me today, we have two people from STILOG. The first is Brian Julo, and he's our marketing coordinator.
Hi, everyone.
And we also have on the line Adrian Jafidlo, our lead implementation consultant.
Hello, everyone. This is Adrian.
Great, thanks, Adrian. So they're going to be assisting me in the Q&A portion of today's webinar. Brian will be hosting and sending the questions off to me, and Adrian will assist me in answering those questions. So just want to get it out now that, make sure that you guys type your questions in the questions portion of the webinar. And at the end, we'll pretty much be able to get through all of them. So you'll see here on the slide, I'm going to try to make this a 40-minute walkthrough and then leave 20 minutes at the end for Q&A. And we should have a lot of questions, which is exciting. All right, moving on. So here are the things that we're going to be covering during today's webinar. So we're going to cover assigning instructors, classrooms, and courses. VP Blueprint for Classroom Map, that's a new feature of Visual Planning 7. We're going to review the repeat function during scheduling because I believe that that's a very powerful tool that can be used. VP Portal use cases. So VP Portal is our web-based and tablet version, which a lot of our current clients use. Workloads and constraints. Explanation of import and export capabilities. And we're also going to review some custom reporting. So we're going to have a lot of things here to cover, but I'll be able to cover everything in the allotted time. Just got one more slide here on our company. So STILOG I.S.T is a developer of visual planning and provides custom programming services. So because we can provide custom programming services, we can serve a whole wide variety of different industries, whether that be production, management, or construction. We have a whole wide variety of clients, but what's great is that for classroom scheduling and this course type scheduling, we have a lot of reach, which is great. All right, so now I'm going to and show you the demo. So here, this is visual planning, and this is an example of a dashboard that we have here. So here we have a whole bunch of different widgets, and here in the middle, I just created a fake university called Visual Planning University. And I'm just going to explain some of the widgets that we have here. So here we have an instructor list. So if you just wanted to see, a full list of instructors, here we have position, their phone number, and their email here. As you'll see, if I hover my mouse over it, the list will scroll down. And then on the right-hand side, we have some upcoming events. So if you wanted to see, upcoming events that were happening, we can do that by using HTML and some other things to make it pop visually. What's great too is through permissions, which you'll hear me say quite often throughout this webinar, is that by using permissions, we could filter the information that one can see. So, say if someone was just from one department and you just wanted them to be able to see, the events or information for that one specific department, we have the ability to do that. Moving on down here in the middle line here, we have weather widgets. So our office is located in Hoboken, New Jersey. So here I just have the Hoboken weather widget, but we do have the capabilities to include more than one. Here we have some favorite displays. So if I go up here, this is our display navigator. Here you'll see all the different displays that we're going to navigate during this presentation. But if you have some favorite ones that you're going to be, navigating often, it is very useful just to have them here. And we can, as you see here, we can set, our own icons and custom images here for these. Semester hours, so we can just have some calculations. So here are total semester hours for all of the instructors. Number of private events. So here we have some room reservations that we can show you. So pretty much, if a classroom has an event or some other thing that's going on aside from an actual course, that's something that we can schedule that I'll get into. Max student capacity. So here we are going to be showing some student scheduling, which I know that during today's climate, and coming out of the COVID epidemic, obviously there are going to be some challenges, but using visual planning, here we can compare the student capacity versus the classroom capacity, and by using some constraints, we can prevent overbooking or double booking of some resources, which I'll show you in a few minutes. Down here we have some reports. So here hours worked by department, and then down here we have all the instructors. The different colors here are the different departments. Instructor workload in a chart. Again, if I hover my mouse over it, it'll scroll down. And here we have instructor total hours. So here in just a line chart, we can show total hours. And this is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to some reporting. And I do have another reporting tab that I will show you later on. But moving on, let's get into things here and go to our first display, which is course scheduling. So if I click on here, it'll bring me to my first display. That is, you'll see here in our viewfinder here. And again, because visual planning can be built from the ground up and be customized to your exact needs, everything that you see here can be customized, colors, icons, the way things are laid out. That's what's great about us. You're not going to be stuck with one thing, and pretty much the possibilities are endless when it comes to this type of scheduling here. Okay. So I'm just going to explain to you what we have in our first view here, and start getting down to the nitty gritty here. So up here we have some departments here. So here I just have 5 sample departments. So I have art, business, communications, economics, and history. And if I double click on these, we can see certain things. So, this is just the name, but if you wanted to see, different headings underneath here, that's fine. If I go to the settings tab here, we can specify what color we have it and then the icon. And we do have some stock icons, but if you wanted to upload your own icons, you have the ability to do that as well. Okay. Over here on the right-hand side, we have a student list. So in a little bit, I'm going to show you how to assign students to some classes. Okay. And we can add, as you see here, you'll see a plus sign is here for departments and student lists. So if I click on student list and click on the plus sign, I can add a new one. So let's do that right now. So let me add, say, Billy Smith. And then what I can do here, if I go to settings, I can customize the color and the icon. Let's make the color white for now. I press on OK, and then you'll see Billy Smith pops up right here. Okay. So again, it's very easy to create resources. And then again, inside, if I double clicked on him, if you wanted to be able to see some contact information for the student, we have the ability to do so. I'll get into what that would look like when I get down to the instructors in the bottom there, but you'll get the idea. All right, so here we have a course schedule. So this is our top schedule here. And then on the bottom, we have instructor and classroom schedule and some different tabs here. Before I get into the course schedule here, what's cool is if I scroll, you'll see that both of the schedules are synchronized. So again, if I go to the classroom, you'll see that it's synchronized there, which is pretty great. And then same thing that if you were to jump in day, both schedules will automatically jump to that one day. Okay. All right, so let me get into our course schedule here. So this is our first one here. And one thing that's really cool is that, here we have a lot of things going on, but if you just wanted to see course schedule by itself, just for a minute or two, if you double click on course schedule, it full screens it like this here. Down here, you also see that we can zoom in on different displays too, right? So, say if you wanted to zoom in a little bit more on the course schedule, if I go and click on that, or, say it was classroom schedule, if I click on the plus sign, it'll zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so we have the flexibility here to do that and pretty much show you exactly what you want to see in a nice format. Okay. So before I get into the events here, I'm just going to bring up some profiles here. So here we have departments and we have courses. So in the art department, we have 4 courses. So as I scroll down here, we have the art classes, the business classes, communications, economics, and history at the bottom here. Okay. So if I were to double click on one of these courses, just for an example here we have the art department, the name of the course, and some notes. So if you wanted to add a note in here, we do have the ability to do that here. Here I have for location, I have on campus and I have online. I'll get to that in a little bit on how we can filter those options out. But again, if you wanted to, add more headings here, say if you wanted to add, what, say if you want to add if it was fall 2021 or spring 2021 or something like that, we have the ability here to add headings. Again, you're not stuck with anything inside the box here. Online course URL, if it was an online course, I'm going to show you in a few minutes that here if you had a Zoom link or a GoToMeeting link, you can provide that in here for students to be able to access. And down here we just have a list of all the students here. If I go to the events tab here, you'll see here that we have a list of everything that's going on for this one course. So here it has a list of classrooms, instructors, a start date, end date, and then the duration in hours also. But what's great about this is, we have the ability to add more fields. You're not stuck with this. So if I were to go, to the display settings here and go to labels, we have the opportunity to add all of these different labels here. So let's say that, say we wanted to add the instructor email for some reason. If I go up there, I'll bring it up here, press on OK again, and you'll see the instructor email is now present. Okay. So again, something that's pretty cool, and we're gonna have some reporting that is gonna be showing this information later on, but it's just really nice to be able to see this at a quick glance. Okay. All right. So so that's pretty much the profile here for the courses, and let me go down to the instructor schedule down here now. Okay. So down here we have some instructors, and they are organized here by full-time and adjunct. Okay. And if I double click on instructor, here you'll see a custom input editor. So here, we can have your organization's logo. Here on the right-hand side, we have a list of events here that, say if you wanted to double click on this, it'll bring you right to the event editor. So here, if you were to double click on one of these events, something like this will show up. And here, you can customize how long it's going to be. You can, change different things here. We have the student list here also. Note, and again, the online course URL for online classes. For status, well, we do have the ability here to, have, pending, denied, and approved statuses. So, say as you're scheduling, we can have it come in automatically as pending when you create an event like that. And then, once it's approved, we can have an email sent out, which is something that I'm going to show you later on in this demo. So here we have name, position, phone, and email, and then here we have certifications. So this is pretty cool. So for this one instructor, for Campbell, she can teach art, communications, and economics. So she has a lot of certifications going on. So if I hit OK here, I'll get into why that would matter. Okay. But before I do that, classroom schedule down here. Again, if I double click on the classroom here, we have some things here. So max number of students. So what that would allow is, say if I were to go schedule, more than 5 students in this classroom, pop-up will pop up saying that there, is an issue, which I'll show you in a minute. If I go to the events tab, again, very similar to the events tab in the instructor schedule. But here we have some private events for room reservation. And then down here we have, what department, course, instructor, and then the start time, end time, and the duration here as well. Okay. All right. So now that all that's out of the way, I'm going to now show you how to schedule some things. Okay. So let's say that, let me scroll down here. So you see down here we have all of our instructors. So let's say that we want to schedule, Klaus, and she's going to teach business law. So if I just click and let go, here it's automatically going to default to 2 hours. Okay. So what we can do here, we have the flexibility to move it around. So, let's say we want to have it start earlier. What we can do is, say if we wanted to extend the duration out, we can extend it out like that. And now it's 3 hours. What's pretty cool too is that if all of these different classes are different lengths and time, we can, inside of the course profile, we can have that here. And then what we can do is, once you have that in here, we can pull it, and whenever an event is created, it'll automatically pop out like that. And that's an example of something that we do for one of our current clients, and they say it's a game changer. So again, if you have hundreds of courses down here and they're all different, and you have it in the spreadsheet, it's possible for us to import that information in here as well as events itself, which is something that I'll get to later on. Okay. All right, so now that we have Klaus here, we have to assign a classroom. So say I want to do 205 business. I'll click and drag and hold control, and now this classroom is now assigned there. Okay. If I right click on here and then go to assign and then go to instructor. So let's say that, something came up and Klaus cannot teach this class anymore. If I go to instructor, here it's available according to workload, which is very important. So here, these are all of the instructors that are currently available. Okay. Let me close this for a second and let me go back. Let me do it to this one. So if I go to assign an instructor, so here you'll see that available according to workload, there aren't that many instructors here. So if I uncheck this, you'll see that, oh, there's a full list here, right? So if I check this again, these are going to be only the instructors, full-time and adjunct, that can work this class. Now, because this is an art class, what I can do here is if I go here to this filter dropdown and check on certification art, only the instructors that are now not only available at this current time, but have the certification to teach art, here this will only show you who's available for those two requirements. So here you'll see that only parish and mayor are now available and can teach that class. So again, this is something that is very powerful and at a very quick glance can show you who's available. If you need to make a quick change, which I know happens a lot in this industry, things happen, things need to change. It's very, very powerful. Okay. So say I wanted to change it to parish, I'll just double click on parish, and then you'll see here in a moment that that Thompson changed to parish now. Okay. Again, these are some pretty cool things that I think could be a game changer for some organizations that do this kind of scheduling. Some other things that I wanted to go over here is that we have some filtering options. Again, these are some basic ones, but say here that you just wanted to see one department, right? So if I go to department and then go to selection filter, I can click through now here. So here is just the history department. Here, economics, communications, so on and so forth. And what's great too is, say that you have some say department chairs that are in charge of the communications department. Instead of seeing all of those different classes, they can come in here and boom, they can only see these classes. And by using permissions, we can allow certain users to only see certain information or certain views, or even some input editors. So say if I open up the event input editor, if you wanted to be able to have only some people to be able to see this, while others see less information, we have the power to do that, which is pretty great. All right. Say if I wanted to go back and revert back to all, just go over the department and click all, and now you'll see that my full list of departments are here. Okay. One other thing that I wanted to show you is if I go to quick filters, location. So here, as you saw before, I have some courses that are on campus and some that are online. So if I go to online here, so these are all of my classes here that are online. All right. And one of the constraints that I have set up for you is that say if someone were to go schedule a classroom into an online class, it'll flag. Okay. So let's say we want to schedule this 308 history, and we forget it's an online class, right? If I go to click and drag this up here and let go, something will pop up, says this online class does not require a classroom. Press OK, and then it'll disappear off the schedule. So again, this could be a great way to keep things organized, make sure that resources aren't incorrectly being assigned to other things. In this case, it would be a classroom to a course, but I do have some other some other ways that constraints could be powerful here. So let me go back to the instructor schedule here. And let's say that I want to schedule a class for another class. Let's say it's the intro to business class. I click and drag and let go. And then you'll see here that teacher unavailable, would you like to continue? You press no, and then they'll disappear from the schedule. Again, these little tricks will definitely save you time and make sure that you're not overbooking someone or underbooking someone. Okay. We have the same thing here with the classrooms. Okay, so let's say that we wanted to book 205 business into the intro to business class. Here, well, that's an online course, but let me try doing it to this one here. Say the management. We'll have something similar. Yep. So this room is not available. You click on OK, it disappears. Okay. One other constraint that I have here is we have some students here. So let me just go to this filter here. So if I go to all, you'll see here that you'll see all of the students that are assigned to these classes, but it takes up a lot of the screen. So by using filters, if we just go to my level 1 events filter here, you won't see the students. But what's great is that we have this thing called tooltips. So if I hover over the event here you'll see the students there. So instead of it taking up a lot of real estate on your screen, if you just hover over these different courses here, you'll see the different students that are assigned to these courses. Okay. Now, if I open up this profile again for this classroom, you'll see that there's a max number of students of 5, right? So let's try to schedule more than 5 and see what happens. So let's go here. We'll schedule more than 5. If I click and drag and hold Control to drag it inside of it, you'll see in a moment here that something will pop up. Yep. So here you'll see that on the left-hand side that here you'll see the students, but this classroom cannot hold the amount of students assigned to this course. Would you like to continue? Click on no, and it'll disappear. Okay. So again, if you're facing a post-COVID climate that restricts the amount of students that could be in one class, this could be a great way to keep track of things like that, okay? We also have another view, which I'll show you later on, that could also be very powerful in that space also, okay? All right, let's see what else we have here. One other thing that I think is very powerful is our repeat function that I mentioned at the top of this webinar. So if I right click on here, actually before I get to there, say that you scheduled out the first week of all of your events, right? Instead of doing this, every single, say if Mayor taught this class every single Tuesday, right? Instead of you going to every Tuesday and then assigning this, what we can do is we can right click here, we can go to more tools, repeat horizontally, okay? So here we can define the repeat event. So let's say it's going to repeat every week, right? And here we have a little calendar icon. So let's say that here we're in January, right? So let's say that so you wanted to repeat every Tuesday, right, until the end of February, right? If I click on OK, what'll happen is that it will repeat that event every Tuesday. And again, what you can also do is you can select all of the events. So say if you scheduled out the entire one, right? You schedule out your entire first week, or say that Monday, Tuesday, or Tuesday and Thursdays, Mayor teaches this one class. What's great is that you can just select all the events, repeat all to the end of the semester, and then you're done. Okay, so it's a great way to save some time there, which is pretty awesome. All right, and a lot of our current clients use this feature. So here, if I go to my, say if I go to the following Tuesday, you will see that here's that class. So again, if I were to go to every single one, you will see that that repeat event happened. Okay. All right, cool. All right. So again, that's very powerful. And again, you could select all. So let's say if you wanted to do that, if I select one and press Control A, it'll highlight all the events I have here. And then theoretically, you could just right click, repeat, and then do it for all of them. Okay. All right, cool. All right, so let's see what else. So let me go back to our online courses here for a moment. So again, if I go to Quick Filters, Location, Online, let me double click on this event here. So here you'll see online course URL. So if you wanted to be able to communicate to the instructor that was teaching this class, what the link was, say if you were having like a live class that you were going to be teaching live while people were going to be watching or listening in. This could be a great way that you can show this for the teacher to have, and then this can either be sent to your students, or the teacher can then take this and email the students themselves. Okay, great. So let me just click on OK right there. And again, if I go back here and go back to all, we're back to all here. All right. So one thing that I wanted to mention, I know earlier I had mentioned that we had some import export things going on. We do have the ability, and I know that a lot of educational institutions use third-party software to create those courses, such as Campus Cafe or other third-party software. What you could do is if you had a spreadsheet of all of the course names, all the names of your instructors, names of the classrooms, even the events itself. So say that here Mayor taught this color theory class every Tuesday from 1 to 3. We could even import these events from a spreadsheet into visual planning. Okay, for time purposes, I'm not going to show you what that would look like, but it is possible to do that, which again would be able to save you a lot of time, and then you could visually be able to see it and then play around with things in here. Okay. One other thing that I wanted to mention is we have the ability to email. So if I go to send mail here, this is just one example of an email template that I created for this webinar. So here, let's say that if someone had a new assignment here, just some a sample of some instructions here. So here you've been assigned to teach the class color theory, the start time and the end time, and then down here are the students to the class. And then here, this room will have a computer access and a printer for your convenience. Okay. What's great too is that not only can that be done manually like that, but it can be done automatically. So in this case, if I double click on this here again, you'll see that this has a status approved. So what we can do here is that we can, go in and all the events that are approved right away when they're approved, they can then send an email. So you'll see down here that when I did that repeat function before, if I go to my inbox here, I do have an example of what that would look like in my actual inbox, okay? So if I go down here and just give me a second to bring this over. So here's what it would look like in an actual email. So here, again, it's going to be the same thing that you see there, but again, you'll see that it will automatically come right to your inbox once that status approved is selected, okay? All right, cool. All right, so let's see what else we have here. I think that was pretty much all I wanted to show for this one view here, okay? We can come back and reference this, but for now, I'm going to move on to our other views we have here, okay? So let me go to calendar view. So here you'll see just pretty much 1 week's worth of events here, okay? There's a lot of things going on. So in this scenario, it's all the events that are happening for this 1 week. But through our use of filters, we can, specify this information or only show information that's important to us, right? So if I go to department and go to selection filter, again, if I click on history, these are only the events that are happening in the history department for this week. And then again, as I click through the departments, you'll see that all the department specific events there, okay? We can also do this with classrooms. So if I, say I go, say if I wanted to do it for the classroom, again, hover over, go to selection filter. And here, as I click through the classrooms, you only see those classrooms and all the events that are happening for those classrooms, okay? And again, this is a very powerful feature, and again, I know that it was a lot of information at first, but if you're only interested in a couple of classrooms or only the department that you specifically are working in, we have the ability there to filter out the information that only you would want to see. We also do have the ability here, just see for quick filters, we can have, as I scroll down, all of the filters that we create for these resources we can show here, okay? If I click on the day here, it'll be broken down by day. So again, as I scroll through the week here, you'll see that the information here will change. But this calendar view is very good for hourly events. And again, could be a game changer when pretty much being able to visually see what's going on. Okay. All right. So moving on here, let me go to instructor management. All right, so here we have pretty much the instructor schedule down here, and then we have a bunch of numbers down here on the bottom. All right, so what this means here, it's a workload that is going to pretty much show occupancy. So you see down here that if it's 0%, it means that they're not occupied for that specific hour in this case. If it's 100%, it means that they're occupied for the entire hour. And if it's 50%, you'll see here that it's only occupied for half of the hour because we do some half-hour scheduling in this planner, okay? The total number up here is the total number of the total percentage of your entire workforce working. So as you'll see here, so at 12 p.m. on Tuesday, 46.67% of the entire workforce is occupied. Okay, so again, this is a very good way to see who's available, who's not available. If I scroll down here on the workload, you'll be able to see the other instructors. And then down here, excuse me, we have a time off tab. So again, say if some people are unavailable. So let's say if I drag this down to Smith, let's pretend he's unavailable for the entire day, right? So here it'll default to 1 full day. If I drag this out, just let me move this back. If I drag this out, I can drag it out to extend to the entire day, or we could just make it default to a day, whatever's easier for you. And now you'll see if I go down to Smith, you'll see 100% occupied for the full day. And again, the same thing that I showed you before in the other view with the repeat function, you could do the same thing here. So let's say Smith is going to be not available every Tuesday for the entire semester. Again, here it saved my previous thing, but again, we can go in and change what it's going to look like there. Okay. Okay. One other thing that I wanted to mention while I'm here is that we can change how everything is displayed. So say if you wanted to view more, say if you wanted to view pretty much as 1 day, we can stretch this out. Okay, so you see some more information, or if you want to see some less information, we can go back the other way, and compact a little bit. Okay, so again, you're not stuck with one different view here. And if I right click up here and go to header and go to scale, these are all of the different scale types that we have. So right here is for an hour, but we can go all the way down to 5 minutes and all the way up to a year. And what's great is that you can save multiple displays. So say if you like this view one way and your colleague likes it another way. Say your colleague likes it more spread out. You can save your own private displays, so only you can see the information formatted in a certain way. Okay. Again, that's another great way to make sure that pretty much all the users are happy, and you're not going to be stuck with just one way of viewing things if you don't like the same way that your colleague does. Okay. All right. So let me see here. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to cover in this one. I guess the only other thing that I could show you here is, again, if you wanted to create another time off event, it's just as easy as just clicking the plus sign. And let's say you wanted to say it would be PTO or something like that. We can go to settings. Let's say we're going to make it another red. Click on OK, and then here you'll see the PTO is now available. And then you could just click and drag it down here. But what's great is that our consulting team would work with you to make sure that you have all of these, so that by the time that you get your user training, or by the time you test it out, you'll have everything that you need here. Okay. All right, moving on. Let me go to table view here. All right, so here we just have a list of all the instructor events. On the right side here, we have a list of all the instructors. Okay. So what we can do here is we can apply a selection filter to the instructor. So if I go to selection filter and click through the instructors, you'll see here that these are all Connolly's events. So this could be a great way that, say if you wanted to, export this out and send it to someone, we do have the ability that we are able to do that. So if I go to print and then go to, say I wanted to go to print preview or export it to a PDF, we have the ability to do it there. And let me go back to our first view we have here and show you what that looks like. So here for the instructor schedule, I had a print preview set up here. So if I go and press on OK here, and let me zoom in a little bit. Let me zoom into 200%. Here you'll see is pretty much the schedule view that I have here. You'll see. So these are all events for this one day. And if I scroll down, you will see that here we have Tuesday, and then we'll have the whole week here. But again, there are many different types of display types that we can have here, and our consulting team would work for you with this to make sure that you have exactly what you need. So say if you didn't want to see email and phone here, we can get rid of that, and you can see more information on the screen. Okay. But going back to our fourth table view here, that's just an example. Here on the other tab, we have course listing. So what's cool about visual planning is that we can have some database views set up here. So say that here we have department name and location of courses, but say if you wanted to add more columns here, if you add some more information here, say if I go into description headings, we can add online course URL, we can add student list, we can add notes, we can add more columns here. So if you give us more information, here just a list of all of the events that you can have here. I'm sorry, a list of all the courses that can be shown here. Okay. And here you can also create a new one. So if I click on this plus sign here, you can create a new course. It'll bring up this menu option to enter in a new one. Okay. All right, cool. Moving on, let me go to blueprint view. All right, so very quickly, I'm just going to explain what this is. So this is a brand new feature of Visual Planning 7, the new release of our software. And using a PDF or a JPEG or some kind of a picture file, you can map out where things are on a map. So here I mapped out all of the different classrooms here. Okay. So if I hover my mouse over, you'll see that this room is associated. The room 402 multi is associated with this zone. Okay, so let's say if I wanted to schedule a class, let's say I wanted to schedule a business law class. Click and drag it. Say I want to drag it over to 207 business. And if I go to my classroom schedule tab here, you'll see that it created it for the time of being right now. Okay, and then from here, what you could do is you can assign an instructor and then see who's available, and then assign an instructor like that. You can also change the day and time. So say this was going to be a 3-hour class. and say it was going to start on, say it was going to start on the 26th instead of the 27th, you press OK, and then you can move it around like that. So again, this is just a cool way to, see where things are on a map. If you have many more classrooms in this, it could be a good way to see, what's going on there, okay? And the last few that I wanted to go over here is reporting. So these are just some very, very quick examples of reports that I have here. But again, pretty much the options here are endless. If the data is within visual planning, we can create a report on it, okay? So here we have a course table, a pie chart, and a histogram. So let me go one by one. So here we got the course table. So if I double click on course table here, it'll maximize it, okay? So pretty much what this is doing, it's breaking down all the events here by art, course, and how long each event is. And up here we have the instructors. So here you'll see that, Campbell taught, this class for this amount of hours. And then we have some totals down here for all of the instructors, okay? And we have subtotals here for, the departments. So again, if you wanted to, export this information out, we can go to export event reports. Let's say it's going to be an Excel file, okay? And then here we can define the path. So let's say we're going to save it to my desktop, and let's just call a course table, okay? We'll call a course table, we'll save it, and then we'll press OK. And then you'll see that it's in progress, it finished. So now it's going to go to my desktop. So let me just bring this over. So if I open it up here, it'll open up an Excel file. And you'll see here that now that all of this information is now in the Excel file here. So if I bring this over, you'll be able to see, more of the course listing here. Again, so, this could be very powerful that if you wanted to take this spreadsheet and upload it into, another piece of software, or, just for you to have, storing on your desktop. Again, this is a very powerful feature of visual planning, okay? Let me close this out. I'm not going to save it. And let me double click this again to minimize it, okay? Here we have a pie chart. So this is just pretty much defining, and I can double click to maximize this too. This is just defining how many hours were worked by each department. So again, if this was a metric that you would want to be able to, report on or, present on at a department meeting or, say a organizational meeting, we can, obviously show it to you like that. And there are some other ways that we can show it to you as well. So, say if you wanted to see that in, a line or area or stacked area, we have the ability to do so as well. All right. For the stacked histogram that I have here, let me double click on this. And you'll see here hours worked by instructor, and it's broken down by department. So here you'll see that we have some instructors like Howell where they only teach one department. So this would be communications. And then we have Mayer here that teach in 3 different departments. Okay. And again, this could be displayed in many different types of ways, but just for the purpose of this webinar, I wanted to show you many of our different display types. Okay, so if I double click that again, it's going to bring it down. All right, but again, this is just the basics of what we have capability-wise for reporting. If you wanted to see more a report on students or report on some other information, again, the possibilities are endless here when it comes to visual planning. If it lives inside of this planner, we can run a report on it. Okay. All right. So I know here we're coming up. We're coming up at 1:41 p.m. Eastern time, and there's one more thing I wanted to show you, and that's going to be our portal version of this software. So let me just bring this up and refresh. So the portal version is very powerful because it can be viewed not only in a web browser, as you see here, I'm using Google Chrome. It can be viewed in a tablet, or say if you're away from your work computer, it can be viewed at say your home computer or something like that. Okay. So let me click press on OK and log in here. So the portal is a lighter version of the client version that I just showed you, but you are able to schedule some things in here, which I will show you eventually. But it's also a good lighter way to say if you wanted to have your instructors see certain events, they don't have to see everything that's going on in the planner portion of it. Okay. So here we have a dashboard just like you saw in the client version. And here I just have a dashboard, and for this would be for the business department. So what we can do is, say if you want to have all your instructors, and so here are just the instructors that teach business and have the certification of business. We can have it set up where they log in and they see some business metrics here. They'll be able to see some events that are going on as I scroll down here. And say if I click the pencil here, you could see some of the information that's going on within there. Okay. Again, if I click the pencil here, Say if you want to change the instructor, we can give users the ability to do that. Class, class or course room or department as well as a student list here. And here, say if you wanted to change the start time and end time, it's as simple as just click on that and selecting another time. All right. Let me go to Instructor Agenda. So this is only mayor's events for this 1 week. All right, so as you'll see here, I have day, working week, and month where different events are shown here. All right, so if I go to day, you'll see here that there are some events. Let me go back to working week though. So pretty much, if Mayor were to log in using her own login into the portal, she would only be able to see her events. But, say if she wanted to see what was going on, with all the other instructors, if I go here and change the filter to all, then they'll be able to see all the events that are occurring for pretty much the whole entire organization, okay? Again, if I go back to Mayor, you only see her events, all right? And here we can change weeks if there are multiple things going on in certain weeks. You'll see that one repeat event that I had for every Tuesday, all right? So if I go back here, it's just very easy to navigate, all right? If I go to my events list here you'll see that here are just a list of all the events for her, okay, and the different departments that she's working in. All right. So here we have the students, start date, end date, and duration here. But again, say if the filter wanted to be changed, we can go to all here, and then we'll be able to see all the events. Or say if you only wanted to be able to see someone else's certain events, we can give them the ability here to just navigate through and just see what was going on here, okay? We do have the ability to print from here as well, okay? So let's say that, I'm parish and I want to be able to print out everything and just keep a hard copy of all my events. If I go to print here, you'll see that it shows it up in a separate window here. And if I go to print, they could print all this stuff out. So again, it could be a great way to make sure that, all the instructors know exactly, what courses they're teaching, that, not only who's going to be attending the class, but the start date, the end date, and how long the class is for. So again, this is a great way to make sure that communication between management or operations and registrar and the instructor are airtight. All right. Last tab I have here is Classroom Agenda. So if I go to Classroom Agenda here, here you'll see all of the classrooms and the courses that are going to be inside of those classrooms for this whole week. But again, if I go to this gear icon and go to classroom here, I can change them up. So let's say I wanted to just see the 301 econ classroom, right? What's cool is that if I click on this plus sign, I can reserve a room. So, say I wanted to reserve a room here for, a private event. And here, I could pick the time. So, let's say I wanted to pick, 12:30 to 2:30. Click on OK. Again, that's going to be would be for today's date, but if you wanted to do it for, say for this Thursday, again, just click room reservation, click on OK, and you'll see here that it is now made. Something else that's cool too is we do have the ability to create a approval system. So, say that, say I'm logged in as mayor, I want to reserve this room, we can have an email sent out to, say operations or department chairs, whoever it may be, saying that this person wants to, request this private event, and then they can either approve or deny it depending on what's going on in that department, okay? And again, everything you see here can be customized. The colors, we could add more, we can add different tabs up here. We can, add more tabs on top of calendars and agendas. So you have a lot of flexibility here when it comes to views, all right? But all right, so that was pretty much all I wanted to cover for the portal. Again, there are more capabilities. So, if you wanted to be able to, have, student agendas up here and be able to see, what all the classes that each student was attending, we have the ability for that. We also have the ability that if you wanted to be able to assign equipment or assign out equipment for one of their classes, if we have that information inside of visual planning, it is possible to be able to not only organize it, but see where everything is at, in one great view. All right, so that pretty much concludes this portion of the webinar. And I would like to now venture on back over to my PowerPoint presentation. And before we open it up for questions, I just wanted to make sure that if you aren't following us on our social media platforms already, to do so. So you'll see our handles here for LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. And I know that this webinar and portions of the webinar will be posted to YouTube in the future. Okay. So now at this point, I'm going to kick it on over to Brian, and he's going to help facilitate our Q&A portion of the webinar.
Awesome. Thanks, Bobby. As Bobby previously stated, my name is Brian Gillo. I am one of the U.S. marketing coordinators for visual planning, and I'll be conducting the question and answer portion of today's webinar. As a reminder, we have set aside time to answer any questions you may have regarding visual planning in our classroom management configuration. So feel free to ask any questions at this time. Currently, we have a couple of questions from Vivian, and they ask, can you import course names and other information into visual planning?
Yes, you can. So let me just pull up visual planning again, and let me go to my first display here. So yeah, so what we can do is, again, these were created manually, but if you had a whole Excel sheet worth of, not only course names, but, say it was, instructor names or when their, classes were taking place, we have the ability to take that and import that into visual planning. And I know we have Adrian on the line here, so Adrian and his team, would be in charge of that. So Adrian, did you want to add anything to the answer for that question?
Yes, so if it's like a complex import, then definitely consulting team would be able to assist you. But if it's something very simple, like for example, one column of information, Visual Planning 7 has this feature where you can basically strictly drag and drop it into the dimension settings, and then Visual Planning will create that dimension and the resources for you. So it's going to be very simple and straightforward process without like almost an additional training required. It can be basically taught in like within 30 seconds. So it's going to be very simple for you to manage your data. It doesn't matter if it's going to be at the beginning or, for example, during the time of using visual planning.
Right. Yeah, and if everything's formatted correctly, like Adrian just said, you can just take an actual file of an Excel sheet, click and drag it over here into this area, and it could automatically create all of the resource names and all of the heading names that would be inside of that. So in this case, for example, we have department name and notes. Okay. Cool. Thanks for the assist on that, Adrian. Brian, what else you got?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Vivian. That's a great question. Just to inform everyone, any unanswered questions can and will be answered in a follow-up email after today's webinar. So just be in the lookout for that. Currently, we have another question from Gloria, and they ask, can payments be recorded in VP?
I don't believe so, but Adrian, you wanna answer that one for me?
Yeah, it's another type of the question where it all depends. Like just the information about the payments, we can import them, let's say, for example, from a different system, but it all depends what kind of system we're talking, what kind of integration would be required, and actually what kind of information do we want about those payments.
Yeah.
So over here, if basically the person who asked the question can provide any more details of what kind of a payment system we are talking about, then we would be able to answer that question more precisely.
Yeah. I mean, if it's just something where if they wanted to keep track of, how much a student paid throughout the semester or something like that, we can create a different heading down here that says, say like amount due or amount paid so far and amount left or something like that. But again, as Adrian said, if that was recorded in another piece of software, could be possible to do some kind of an integration.
Great. I believe we have a follow-up from Gloria, and she asked, payments, what was paid, sorry, for a class?
Yeah. I mean, I guess if it's just something that they wanted to manually input, that would be fine. So let's say if I'm just going to make another quick heading right here. Let's say that I make a numerical heading, and again, this could be done manually, and it's very easy to do. So I'll call it payment made, and we could specify down here. It'll be in dollars, so we'll do OK. So what we can do, if someone wanted to manually come in here and let's say Ryan, made a payment of let's say $5,000 or something like that, that we could do. But again, if it would be coming from, say it would be coming from another piece of software, an Excel spreadsheet would be fine. That we can import in, that's fine. But if it's coming from another piece of software, that could be something that could be done depending on what that software is.
Yeah, and just
Cool.
to add to it, like the payments can be like incremental. So like basically over here, Bobby presented like way where you type in one value, but visual planning has as well capabilities to basically accumulate multiple payments, let's say throughout the week or for example throughout the months. So
Right.
as long as this information is in visual planning, we'll be able to create like the calculation. Again, the biggest question over here would be the source of the information. If it's manual input, if it's coming from an Excel spreadsheet, or for example from another system.
Great. I'm loving the questions. Here we have another question from Vincent, and they ask, how does your implementation process work?
Okay. I'm going to kick that over to Adrian since that's all in his wheelhouse.
Yep. So basically, we have three main parts of the implementation process. The first one is needs analysis, during which one of our consultants will get to know your business better, understand the requirements and everything. So basically, this is like almost like the interview at the beginning. And then the consultant will go to the consulting phase and the configuration. So basically over here, this is where the planner is being created with all the requirements. During that time, of course, the consultant will be back and forth in touch with the customer to make sure that everything is going into the right direction. After that, we'll have the training. Depending on what kind of a training you'll purchase, there are different options. Then the consultant will basically provide that kind of a training. After a short period of testing time, then we'll basically get you live and you'll be able to use visual planning on your production environment.
Great. Okay, so we have another question. We have a question from Anya, and they ask, is it possible to display visual planning onto digital displays for viewing?
You said digital displays?
Yes, so I guess like a TV or some kind of like uploaded monitor.
Yeah. I'm actually showing this webinar actually on a TV right now. So and you can launch multiple versions of visual planning for different monitors itself. Adrian, you have any other comments on that?
Yeah, I can only add that like we have a lot of customers who basically use visual planning just for as well like viewing purposes. So let's say somewhere within the building or for example in multiple rooms, they have a big screen on which visual planning is being displayed basically 24/7. And depending on the needs, it can be either one view or for example multiple views as right now Bobby has on the screen. But yeah, definitely it is a possibility, and in that specific case, most of the time only read-only license would be required because like on that kind of a screen, most of the time it'd be just for the viewing purposes.
Great. I'm loving the questions, Gloria. We have one more from her where she asked, our instructors use animals. Can we add animals that each instructor is qualified for?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would be pretty similar to what I have here, where where it says certifications, we can make another field that says animals. So let's say if instead of art, business, communications, economics, history, it could be like tiger, monkey, lion, or dog or something like that. But would pretty much be the same premise. And again, if you wanted to assign someone to an event, what we can do here is instead of having we could create other filters here where instead of certification art, it could be like animal certification tiger. So anyone that would just have that certification would only be able to be shown here.
Awesome. Just a reminder, we are running short on time, so we're just going to answer a couple more questions. And again, any unanswered questions can and will be followed up in a follow-up email after today's webinar. So now we have a question from Danica, and they ask, are there any limitations as to how many students can be inputted into the software?
There's no limit on any resource. So it could be anything, student, course, or instructor. Adrian, you have any other final comments on that?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the amount of resources within the system, there are no limitations. Obviously, we would have to, at some point, consider some filtering because, like, if it's going to be a large of amount of information on the same screen, it might be hard to display. So
Yeah.
filters will be strongly recommended. And then on the other end, like, if, let's say, these resources as like students or, for example, teachers would have to access the system, then I guess the only limit is the licensing that you have. But as far as the resources being placed in the system, there are no limitations.
Great. Final question from Anya. How fast can visual planning update or refresh its events onto other devices?
It's all done in real time. So I think if I go, let me go to my classrooms. Yeah, it's all done in real time. Yeah, I don't think I have it here. But say anything that would be done on the portal or something like that, would be able to show up here or on the client side right away. Okay. Adrian, you have anything else you want to add on to that?
Yeah, I can just confirm that it's basically in a real time, and if the real time is not enough, there's also additional option to basically notify in various ways users about updates. So, for example, if you are a user of the system and let's say you're using visual planning on your phone, you don't have to basically look at visual planning at all times. You can basically be notified with a simple VPGo push notification that, let's say, there was an update on your schedule, or for example, that one of your activities has been updated. So we have a lot of different ways, but as far as the data itself, it's always updated in real time.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Bobby, for letting me facilitate this question and answer portion of today's webinar. That concludes this portion of today's webinar. So I'll give it back to Bobby.
Cool. Yeah, thank you so much for facilitating that for us, Brian. Just one more thing that I wanted to share with everyone that's on today is that here's my contact information and our sales email. So if you guys have any other questions or would like to see more of a personalized, tailored demo to your specific needs or your specific organization's needs, myself or someone else from our company would definitely reach out to you to facilitate a conversation or a demo. Okay. All right, so that's going to be everything we have here. Brian and Adrian, thank you guys so much for helping me out today, and I'm going to end the webinar. All right, thanks, guys.
Awesome. See you guys.
See you guys. Thank you.